I personally think that I made my films with a kind of a sleepwalking security. I did things which I thought were right, period. And as I said, I had nobody, no model, which I wanted to be like, you know?
Okay, Bill?
Yes, sir. Roll.
Speed, quiet, please. Speed. 10, take 1, A and B camera markers.
I run away from home. I think any decent human being should run away from home. And after different experience, I landed in Belgium. I had an affair with a Eurasian. And friends said, you cannot go on like that. And they sent me to Brussels.
You were born in Vienna.
I'm born in Vienna. And in Brussels, there was an open, not a restaurant, you know, a garden restaurant.
Yes.
And in the garden restaurant, they had a screen. When you paid, you saw the screen from the right side. If you didn't pay, or less pay, you saw it from the reverse side. And there I saw for the first time a film.
How old were you? When was that? About?
1970, 19, 17, 18, such a time, I don't know exactly. I went to a bar and ordered a martini, which I liked already then. And I said, give me a very dry martini. Well, when he gave me the martini, I drank half of it and said, wait a minute, not so dry. So he said, he filled it up, and I got 1.5 martini for the same amount of money. And then I looked around, and when I saw a good-looking girl sitting with an elderly man, I went to the table and said, would you mind if I make a picture of the lady? If he liked it or not, he had to say yes, otherwise he would have hurt the girl. And then I had a slight disappointment. You know, she looked at it and then folded it very small and put it in her bosom. And I got 10 francs probably from the elderly gentleman. And in the meantime, I was working in a cabaret in a very stupid act. And in the cabaret, I met the acquaintance of a young man who was working in a bank and who wrote songs. And one day he said to me, why don't we make pictures together? I said, fine. I still was under the influence, as I said to you, moving pictures, you know?
Yes.
Paintings, I couldn't do anything in these times. So we started to write together. After 8 days, I said to him, look, I make you a proposition. You sell them and let me write them. So we did. We sold 1 or 2, and then I had to go to the war. I was different time wounded, shoulder shot, everything. And in 1918, I was sick and tired. And I came back. And my nearsightedness, you know, which I had cheated at the beginning when I told you I was thinking to be my duty to be in the war, you know.
Yes.
Helped me, and I didn't have to go to the trenches anymore. I stayed in the backcountry in Vienna. And one day, I had a very, very wonderful sweetheart, a cabaretist, but I didn't have money. Wounded, losing my horse, everything. I had 120 kronen. What can you do with that? So I was sitting in a cafe. I remember as if it would be today, on the corner of a billiard, when a man came to me and said, "Please forgive me, Herr Lieutenant." It was very haughty and said, "Who are you?" He said, "My name is Peter Ostermeyer. I'm a representative of the play, stage play, the Hears." I said, "Yes," and I was wondering if the Herr Lieutenant would take a part in it. So I said, "What would you pay?" And he said 750 kronen. I had 120. Sometimes in my life, I'm getting a little intelligent. Not always, not very often, but sometimes. So I said, "That is very, very little." And he said, "More than 1,000 we couldn't play." Settled. Suddenly I had 1,000 things. And then came a disappointment for him. He wanted me to play a German Oberlieutenant, you know, somebody who is more than a lieutenant.
Yes.
But I couldn't speak German in this way, I mean Prussian. So he was forced to give me the main part in the picture.
It was a play?
It's a play. A main part in the play, I'm sorry. So I played it. And it was a big success. Erich Bommer was serving in Romania, I think, in Secret Service. I'm not sure. He was the head of Tekla Bioscope. And they said to him, "You should look at this man. This is a good man for motion pictures." Erich Bommer came to Vienna, and I wore a monocle, always. And he said, "I don't want to have anything to do with this haughty son of a bitch." But he said, "Look, but we have talked to Mr. Lang. You have to talk with him." He said, "Okay, I will talk with him, but that's all." Okay. So we started when the play was finished at 10:30, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, I had a contract with Tekla Bioscope as a dramaturg.
As a writer?
As a dramaturg. A dramaturg is very hard to translate. No, a dramaturg is a
story
doctor.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Germany was naturally dominating in the war. He had promised me that I would have no trouble with the Austrian army. They would let me go. I mean, after I got my furlough of 2 months. Fine. So I went there, many funny things. I checked films. I didn't have the slightest idea about film in these days. In spite that I had written some and some were even filmed. But I don't know anything about cutting or how long and so on, you know.